I'm Scott Trout, CEO of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. We help men deal with the life changes triggered by divorce, such as child custody and property division, among many others. But life changes also occur after divorce. These changes can make parts of your existing court order irrelevant or harder to follow. If you feel a modification to your court orders might be necessary, talk to us at Cordell & Cordell. We're a partner men can count on.
Contact CordellCordell.com, 1065 East Hillsdale Boulevard, Suite 310, Foster City, California, 94404.
Came in a little hot right there.
You're listening to The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
What's up? I'm Brad, at Brad Nolan on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and everywhere. If you just search Brad Nolan on the internet, I'm going to be like the first 6.
Whoa.
On Google.
Only the first 6?
I don't know, I haven't checked it recently.
Damn, dude.
Not since yesterday.
You haven't checked your Google meter? Like,
No.
You know how they do the star meter on IMDb?
Yeah.
That's like one of the conversations that is slap-worthy when actors do it. Like, what's your star meter? I just want to be like, I don't want to slap them. I want to do like the Larry Moe and Curly Three Stooges, like yoink, like both eyeballs, like get them right in both eyeballs. You can find me, Brian Moote, on @MooteComedy on everything but Twitter. It's @MootePoints, because if anybody's showed you that Twitter is a useless, irrelevant piece of marketing, it's been Kanye this week. So me and Kanye should add Moote Points to his Twitter handle too.
And we have Shereen Thor in studio at Shereen Thor.
Yeah.
Brad is dragging today. And I'm going to blame health. I'm going to blame health. He had to get his blood drawn today.
Yeah. Also didn't eat at all prior to the blood draw.
You're not allowed to eat during.
No, I was allowed to eat for this.
Oh, okay. Well,
It was a non-fasting blood draw.
I haven't been to the doctor's realized in like 10 years, so I feel fine. But I don't know what my test results would say. I do know from donating blood last week that I am O positive, and that is a very sought after blood donor.
You're kind of a big deal.
So I will be doing a lot more blood donation to help out the kids.
Shireen, what's your blood type?
I don't know.
It's not a thing that a lot of people
How do you
know,
not
though, right?
know?
What, really?
Do you know yours?
A positive.
You guys are both so nerdy right now,
Kind of
knowing your blood types.
Ironically, he's a positive blood type, but a negative person. Oh, I'll give myself one of those. It's a dad joke. That's my new favorite thing to do, is just hit people with dad joke imaging.
No, I mean, mine was on dog tags for years, so it's really hard to forget your blood
there you
type.
go. Yeah, that's true.
a
I
real-
didn't have that.
That's a real bummer of a...
It's not like I'm not dead.
I know,
It would
but
be dead if,
but it's just the reminder of the fact you have to have your blood type on your dog tag because you get shot or something, you bleed.
Well,
That's for.
you have like cool blood, but you haven't been to the doctor in 10 years, so I don't know, Brian.
I think O positive is like a superhero. I don't think you need to. I just think as long as you feel good when you go into the every day, and then you're fine. Brad, you're getting LASIK done, right?
Yes.
That's you got the blood test done?
Yes, I am getting LASIK done. I've had really terrible eyes since I'm like 12 years old, and before that even probably, but nobody noticed because my family could barely afford ramen, let alone glasses.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a thing that...
It's a dream come true, really, actually.
I know it is.
Yeah, it is.
That's
you can
true,
see
actually.
without glasses for the first time. What if
and
you...
like afford an optional surgery? That's cool.
Yeah.
What if you find out that the way you just view the world is completely wrong? Like you don't see certain colors. You just didn't know that you're incapable of really seeing what ears look like or eyebrows until you got your eyes lasered.
It's the Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan, and I think this LASIK thing is pretty interesting because I once had a theory when I was a kid that like we don't see color. Like my version of red is not your version of red. Like you don't see the same red I see, but we both know that color, whatever it is called red.
Right.
But like, what if your red is actually my purple? And it's like this weird, weird theory, and I'm excited to get LASIK because then maybe I'll see different things.
Well, it's funny. I think everybody has that.
Like maybe I'll see in Klondikes.
Right. You can see through. I have X-ray vision. I can look at boobs all day.
It's going to be amazing.
I can do that anyway. I have the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
God, boobs have really lost their luster in
they
the
have.
age of the internet. Back in the early 90s, boobs were a treat.
Yeah, now it's just about what is the person who has those boobs doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And how can I meet them?
Yeah.
I used to have that. I think everyone has that theory at some point in time when you're a kid where you start to learn about colors and you also start to learn about critical thinking and you start to think to yourself, there's no way we all see the same color.
Yeah.
You know? And you hear about your friends who are colorblind and that doesn't make sense to you, that they can't see. Man, we used to do the colorblind test with my friend Lane all the time. We had like the colorblind thing. We'd be like, hey man, what number's in this circle?
So
Because they can't see it if they can't decipher yellows and greens. And it wasn't until I got into high school when I really hit the science classes. And, well, you realize that the wavelengths and frequencies make it pretty well consistent that we all see the same colors based on our perception. But I do think, like, for you, it's a mystery, man. You could be like that video.
Look how thick these glasses are.
I mean, those look like coasters.
These are polycarbonate. These are supposed to be like the thinnest version. They still don't fit in the frame.
Wow. I think it's one of those things, though, that we should do this. We should film you as soon as you come out of Lasik. You know when, like, they do some sort of wild surgery and someone can hear or see for the first time and they start crying? What if we get Brad to cry?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I mean, honestly, like, not to be like a
hyper emotional. Man.
Yeah, I mean, it is like a legitimate dream come true. It actually marks it marks a few things in my life. One, I've been struggling with the glasses contact game. I'm not saying this is a real life struggle, but at the end of the day, like, I ended up having to quit some sports when I was a kid over it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble in school because of it, and just having the wrong prescriptions and stuff like that. Also, my family wasn't very wealthy, so the whole new glasses every year thing wasn't really a possibility. And so, like, from that point of view, it's a dream come true. The other part of the dream come true is that in the radio industry, you do endorsements and you get free things, right? I've been trying to get LASIK through radio since it started. And I'm not paying for this surgery. The LASIK clinic is paying for this surgery.
Wow.
It's all completely covered.
Right.
And that's actually, for me, oh wait,
so
did
cool.
You made it.
I make it?
You made it, Brad.
You made it, Brad.
Free Lasik.
Well, and they've been treating me like a king there. It's crazy. They don't even know that I'm barely on the show I'm endorsing it for.
You know what? That brings up a good point. I think that we lose perspective on some of those things, especially when it comes to, like, you know, health and health insurance and food. I remember the first time I realized that, you know, what the food that I was eating was poor people growing up food, where it was everyone starts ripping things like ramen and Hamburger Helper.
And you're like, what?
And I was like, what do you mean? Like dinner every Wednesday? Oh, beef stroganoff, duh. That's my favorite.
Yes.
Well, I'm going back for another bowl. Excuse me, or box wine. I was like, we had that on the counter my entire life.
I'll never forget the year we had a German exchange student because he cooked for that whole year, and I was like, what is this crazy foreign food? Turns out it's just like stuff you can get like anywhere, really.
Or here's another way I realized, like, growing up that we weren't balling. But I think it's because my parents never really – my parents were good at not saying no, but just saying, like, not yes. So, you know, when you realize, like, you see all the things you used to grow up eating, you can also buy at a Rite Aid.
You're like, oh,
Right?
I see what was happening.
You're like, the grocery aisle at Rite Aid is where my mom was shopping.
That is awesome.
I don't
That's
think
an
I
awesome
was
observation.
balling out of control. I remember also the first time I ever got free basketball shoes in college. I wouldn't wear them for the first 2 months of practice until the coach made me wear them. He was like, Brian, wear your shoes. Wear them. Wear the Adidas shoes. We have an. I'm like, well, what if I wear a hole in them? He goes, we have plenty of shoes. We can get more shoes. And I was like, really? So then I just tried to get more and more shoes, and I had extra sets in my. I was hoarding the shoes.
Hoarding the shoes.
I was like, I don't know, when are they gonna take this whole? This is gonna fall apart eventually. No one's just giving anybody free Adidas shoes all the time, and I've never gotten any free shoes in my life. In fact, my parents were always looking to see at Foot Locker where we could get 2-for-1s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I also remember the whole back-to-school shopping thing being a problem with the clothing. And I remember when I did go to college, I mean, I'd like 3 outfits, and that's all I had. Like, I just couldn't buy extra clothes because I was like, I'm not going to play this game. And then, like, now I'm a grown-up. I think I still have like 5 outfits.
That's awesome. I like how I'm just silent right now. Like, everyone listening is probably like, that bitch didn't grow up poor. But we were poor, too.
We think you Egyptians have oil money. Pharaoh folk.
Basically.
Watch this.
Watch this.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch you make genius out of nothing.
The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan. Here we have Brian Moote
This better not get me in trouble with my girlfriend.
and Brad Nolan.
No, my wife wants to flip the swinger switch.
Just two boys without man buns.
At Brad Nolan on the Twitter and Facebook. Well, that's a different social
Whoa,
network.
fist book? It's either fighting or something else.
I'm going to buy that domain. Hold on. Go ahead, Brian. You start the break. I'm going to buy the Fistbook domain.
Get .org and .biz.
Yeah,
while you're
for
at it.
sure.
That is Brad Nolan, the creep buying a Fistbook page. I am Brian Moote, and with us Shereen Thor, and we just spent a magical few days in Disneyland. The happiest place on earth, and unless you have kids that are bumming you out the whole time.
Which is likely.
It's funny because I don't have any kids, and Brad has a daughter, a very adorable daughter,
Yeah,
Declan.
she's great.
Adorable. Your wife, Nikki, adorable people. But what I found so hilarious was my brother and I are grown men in our 30s who I found a picture on my phone today of him somehow laying on the elevator floor in the Disneyland Hotel. I'm not
Very
exactly
nice.
sure how that happened. I don't think my mom would be proud of that, to be honest. But what's funny about it is you can, as a grown-up, man, without kids, you can just get smashed at Disneyland. Like downtown
Yeah.
Disney, California Adventure. And here's the thing that I wanted to talk about with two parents. And did you have this realization, or how long after you had a child did you have this realization? But I realized when I rolled out of bed at noon on Sunday, and my brother was dry heaving in the bathroom of the Disneyland Hotel, and I'd ordered on accident 4 pizzas the night before, so our room smelled like just awful sausage.
That quantity button online will get you.
Oh man!
Yeah.
And they were like different sizes.
It's okay. We know you did it on purpose.
Meat Stravaganza.
It's okay.
Meat Stravaganza is not the pizza you want. And I ordered a cheesy bread that was just jalapeno and bacon.
Oh, God.
It was the ulcer starter kit. Is what I gotta. No, what I realized though, because Brad was already at the park, already like zipping through things, early up.
8 a.m., yeah.
Right.
8
And
a.m. we were inside the park.
I wasn't even up until noon, and then I had to drink a beer just to function. And I thought to myself, man, when I have kids someday, this has got to stop.
Yeah, I think the realization for me came in the delivery room because the baby came out, right? And I'm at this point, I'm like, okay, I have zero responsibilities in this room right now. Like I'm responsible for nothing, right? There's a team of doctors and nurses in here.
They're doing it all.
They're doing it all. And then the guy looks at me and goes, "Do you want to cut the cord?" And I was like, I couldn't even enjoy this 5 minutes. Like I'm already working. Like this is it. My whole life is going to be whatever you want to do, minus everyone else, what everyone else wants from you for the rest of your life. And so, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine.
He's like, no big deal. Just the second the baby came into the world, I immediately knew there would be no fun had.
No more of this. This is what my life was like all in downtown Disney. That's all we were doing
That
the whole
was so
time.
amazing.
That is a funny moment to have that realization, because I think for men and women it's got to be a different point in time you realize that the hangover party days are done, because the guys can still get away with it for an extra 9.5 months.
Yeah.
Until
sure.
until that, you're right, that moment where you're cutting the cord and you're like, oh my God, they're gonna hand this thing to me.
Yeah.
And I got to be
Yeah.
responsible because
Yeah.
my wife is not going to be completely physically capable of handling a lot of this
Right.
stuff for a hot minute. So for you, would it be, when did you realize?
Yeah, like, get over yourself, Brad. Okay? 9 months earlier, biznatch. Like, seriously. So not only was I pregnant, which is a total bitch. Like, any woman who says I love being pregnant, I don't understand them. It's super weird. You're
It's
tired.
called amnesia.
It's like super weird. I
Right.
literally don't get
Isn't it a scientific thing though, that they say that you hate it up until the moment you see your baby, and then your body releases a bunch of it
And then you're
wasn't
like-
that bad. We can do it again. And then your body's privately like,
You just really like that song.
I just love the fact that I have buttons with sounds on them now.
He's so excited.
Yeah, I am.
So with my...
But I love that you're able, Shereen, to like just honestly say pregnancy was a bitch.
Oh, it's a bitch. And you know what's interesting is like, I'm just a very weird girl and I'll say all the things other girls won't say. So like, it might get real inappropriate up in here. I hope you guys are okay with it. But for me, hey.
How inappropriate, Shereen.
So making babies. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I was put on bed rest with Maya.
Oh, no.
So like pre-prego, me and Kenny are like so cool. We're like both free spirits. We live by the beach in Venice.
Yeah, I mean, you have a life coaching business called what? Awaken the Rebel.
We're so cool. We're like the epitome. Like, we played like flag football together. We were like so cool and fun and free.
You're that couple just all over social media.
That couple.
We're disgusting. And then
you are one pathetic loser.
Basically.
I was busy working while you're playing flag football.
So then we get married. I get knocked up. And then I'm put on bed rest, which basically means I can't be cool and free and independent anymore. I got to lay the down all day to bake a human while this dude gets to go out and have a good time. Oh, you best believe those fights were starting.
Oh, man. So wait, what led to bed rest and how far into the pregnancy? Because did you have to do it for your second one, Luke, or just the first one?
I had to do it with both. So the first time, I think it was like 4 months in.
Oh,
they put me on bed rest. Yeah, so I was on bed rest for like 5 or 6 months. No, 5 months because she came early. She came a month early.
And your Netflix game must have been strong.
It was on point. You don't even know.
Binge watched every show.
It was amazing.
She's like, you don't remember the end of Lost? Oh, I've watched it twice in this month. So let me tell you about
it. It's just as bad both times.
Exactly.
I still can't figure it out.
And then that's terrible actually. And then with Luke, they put me on bed rest a month earlier, and he went full term, but they hospitalized me at one point because they thought he was gonna like pop out and die. It was like super dramatic. So basically, I'm never getting pregnant again.
Oh my God, it sounds traumatic.
It's terrible. Like literally, the last 4 years of my life have been real tough.
Did you guarantee you weren't going to get pregnant again?
No.
Oh.
But I do. I mean, I have an IUD in to get personal. Like, whoa, why are we talking about that?
Well,
right
like
now?
my wife, she had her tubes tied the next day.
Did she?
Oh,
She's
wow.
like,
So you guys are one and done.
So you're done.
Oh, yeah, we're done. But here's the thing. She actually brings it up once or twice a year. Like, hey, you made me get my tubes tied. And I'm like, I didn't. What?
I think that was a mutual decision.
Yeah. And it was because I think she forgets, again, retrograde amnesia. She forgets that we had a very difficult pregnancy. She has lupus. It almost killed her. And so I'm like, I'm just not doing that again. We can adopt kids. We're not doing that part again. I
think that's pretty solid.
I'm not going to choose between wife and new kid.
Does she go like, but Brad, Kelly Clarkson says whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So clearly I've got an iron woman uterus and we can do this.
Yeah, she wasn't even supposed to get pregnant. So when she's like, I'm pregnant, I was like, oh.
Oh, I thought you said.
I thought you said
this is impossible. Oh my God! You know what? I just look. I know I'm gonna blow this. I know I'm gonna blow the initial reaction. If my girlfriend and I have kids, which we've talked about having kids and not getting married, which made me love her way more, because I'm not a fan of that other part of the contracts. I need to bring lawyers into this, and I just know that in my mind it'll always be better next year, like, I made more money. Yeah. And at some point in time, that's just delaying, not having a crippling hangover at downtown Disney and eating pizza at noon when you just first wake up because a kid won't let you do it. But I know for a fact I'm going to have to coach myself and just know that if that moment comes and when it comes where she tells me she's pregnant, I just gotta, I need Oscar acting classes because I know I'm betting 90% that my reaction is telling and it's not going to be the one she wants.
Listen, you
bastard.
I know it. I just know myself.
You and I are very similar in the way we grew up, in the way we react to things. My past is very similar to your present, which is weird because I'm younger, but it's but I'm really older.
But you're older on the inside.
Right. And I will tell you that you don't need any coaching. You don't need any training. There's and I was in your mode when it happened to me. Listen, when she said I'm pregnant, I literally had a feeling of relief.
Really?
I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And I don't know why I had that reaction. Still to this day, I'm like, who was that had that reaction? But I think
Guardian
honestly,
angel came in and said that for you.
through all the therapy and everything, I think I've landed on my brain, my life needed an excuse to stop living the life I was living. And when that happened, it was like, I can focus on this.
See, I should have been rooting for that when I was a comedian in bunk beds who needed a reason to get a real job. But now it's like I'm having all the fun, so I know my reaction is going to be this. No, Kelly Clarkson! And she's just going to slap me right in the face.
Do you have the emotions one? She's going to be...
Oh, yeah, I do. It's right here. Where is it? Where are my buttons at? Where are my buttons?
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
There it is.
Brad Nolan is a dad and a Harley rider. Brian Moote is scared of commitment and wears a seatbelt. The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
Not scared of commitments. Not at all. Totally committed.
Yeah.
Committed just fine.
If you listen to earlier in the podcast, he spent some time talking about how he wasn't sure he was going to react to having a kid, so he couldn't do shots anymore.
Those?
Yeah, not at all scared of commitment.
No, I'm just
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
going to speak through sound drops.
This is the Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan. I'm the Brad Nolan part, at Brad Nolan on social media.
I mean, my girlfriend would be like, I'm pregnant. What was that?
What?
I mean, come on, that was perfect.
You hit the dad joke button.
You're right. It's a dad joke. that is such an awful sound effect that I just think is so funny. Wait, Shereen, what was that? We were all like, whoa! So
If only you guys could see how Brian moved his neck at that moment. It was amazing.
I just get so excited for it, okay?
It looked like there was no bones in there.
Exactly.
It's my like sassy, my sassy girl neck. It's like, what was that?
There it is.
Come with that again. All right. We have Shereen Thor in studio hanging out with us today. I know we did this earlier. I was like, what do you guys want to talk about? What's on your minds? What do you guys got?
I think I should change at Shereen Thor to awakentherebel.com. I think that's where people should find me.
Do you already own it?
Yeah, it's mine. Duh.
Okay.
Have you not looked at my amazing website? You're disgusting, Brad, and you're in trouble.
Okay.
Too dramatic? Too much?
Yeah.
Do your significant others, whether you're both married, so are they addicted to any gaming apps?
Yes.
Yes.
Are they really?
Oh, yeah.
Which one for you, Shereen?
Okay, not an app. Kenny is like an actual gamer. Like
online.
like a headset, like gamer.
Oh, wow.
Is he turning revenue with that, or is it just a waste of time?
Just a huge waste of time.
Yeah. How do you turn revenue with it? You put stuff on YouTube and stuff?
Yeah, you put it on the YouTube, on Twitch. You start doing endorsement deals and revenue streams and all this other stuff. It's great.
Man, I should have focused on video games.
You really should have.
My mom, I blame my mom. My hippie mom wouldn't let us get video games because she wanted us to go outside and play. What a loser. And she made us go outside, so we didn't. She wouldn't let us have video games, and then finally she broke down. And when I was like a senior in high school, we got Sega Genesis, even though like PlayStation was out and Xbox and all that stuff.
So you're just playing Sonic the Hedgehog for life.
Yes. So I still do the thing where I can't use all the buttons on those things. Too many buttons on these.
Too many buttons.
On these controllers. I sound like a real old person. Get off my line. Too many buttons on these things. So I like every time I'm trying to play the game and I want to go to the right or left, I move my hands. Like, like a little kid.
Yeah.
I have the video game development of a 5-year-old. So how often does he play? Is this like a nightly thing?
Every other night.
Every night. Do you have you set rules for it or
like
no?
he goes in phases where sometimes he doesn't like he'll go like 6 months and he won't game at all. And then he'll be like addicted for like another 6 months where I'm like, bro, can you get off the freaking computer and help me unload these groceries? Like, are you serious right now?
Whatever, I'm fighting.
I'm not done.
Level 19 orcs right now.
Yes,
I don't even know what games he's playing.
Yeah,
He
Nikki's
plays-
into the like variations of Candy Crush.
Oh, so's Jessica.
Yeah.
God, it makes
But
me
it's like it's
crazy.
not just Candy Crush, right? It's Candy Crush, it's Soda Crush, there's another like Crush game, there's a puppy one, there's like all kinds of different ones, and I always see her playing them. And I'll be honest, there have been times I'm like, oh, I'm going to download that and play it, and then I'm like addicted to it for like 3 weeks, and then I'm like, oh, I got to put this, I'm not getting our work done.
I did the same thing. If you can't beat them, join them. That's what I thought in this whole app thing. And so she's into Candy Crush too, Jessica. And the only time it would make me absolutely crazy is when I'd be having a conversation, talking to her, and I could see her playing. and she's still listening because women can multitask. But I just felt like such a ridiculous slap in the face that she's like, yeah, blah, 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 keep talking about whatever you're doing. Hey, listen, I'm on level 800 right now, so I'm just crushing it. And so finally I downloaded the app, and I got into it too. I got a little bit hooked on it.
It's hard not to.
I'm on level like 23, and she's on level like 1,000 or something at this point. Here's why I quit that, was we were on a vacation to Destin, Florida, and we were staying at her parents' condo on the beach, right up. You could see the beach from the condo. And we were both laying in bed on a Saturday, both playing Candy Crush. And in front of a beach, also perfectly normal time to just have a little bit of, you know, the sex.
The sexings.
Doing it. We don't have any kids.
Yeah.
We're both acting like we're playing Candy Crush because we got to avoid, we can't because the kids come barging in at any moment because they've got iPads out in the living room. And that's not even the case. So I joined
you quit.
it. No, I quit Candy Crush, yeah.
You're like, no, you're getting in the way of my fun time.
Well, actually, and the other thing, too, was I couldn't get past this one level, and it was making me super frustrated.
It does. It frustrates us.
And it kept asking me if I wanted to buy ways to get past the level.
And of course you do. Of course you do want to buy it, but you can't make yourself do that.
No, I'm not
once you cross that
you're
bridge.
Like that guy. Well, I mean, but doesn't it bother you that you know that these games were made by people who, like, study how to get people addicted to games?
Yeah.
That you're, like, being puppeteered. Like, that's, like, I can't get into that.
It's the same
it's funny.
as people who design slot machines.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to me because, like, when I start talking to Nikki, I'll be like, hey, that's my wife, by the way. When I start talking to Nikki, I go, hey, and I just start a conversation with her, and she's looking at her phone. She'll do the same thing I do when I'm doing work, which is, hang on 1 second.
Right, but not accomplishing anything.
But then you think, you're like, what is she? My wife currently doesn't have a job.
You're like, hold up.
And I fall for it at first. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry, yeah, just let me know when you're done.
Dude, that was the same thing with my girlfriend Jessica.
That's
she's
amazing.
My
and
girlfriend.
Look at the screen, it's a Candy Crush.
Yeah, my girlfriend's a real estate agent, and so I'd always think like I'm not that person who freaks out when someone has their phone out and they look at it while you're talking because we're in businesses where people want responses immediately,
24 hours a day.
It makes you anxious when you see, oh shoot, I got a text from, oh here we go, like people from the radio station are texting me, I got to figure out what it is, and I thought she was doing work too. Making real estate deals, and it turns out she's just crushing candy while she just completely tunes me out. I was so just offended. Offended.
I gotta be honest, I don't feel bad for you guys. You know how many women in the freaking state of the universe have had this feeling with a-hole men their entire freaking lives?
Yeah, but you can't, listen, the argument isn't boy versus girl, okay?
It isn't?
No, the argument is phone versus world.
Okay.
Right?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'll agree with that.
You know what I mean? Because I think everyone falls into this trap, right? Maybe guys are more susceptible because we're dumber. I get that.
Yeah,
I like that he said that.
But at the end of the day, it's really like, how many times can you put your phone away and just say, I'm done with this? My wife and I have been really good at that on vacations. But when we're not on vacations, it's pretty easy for us to fall into the rut, the day-to-day, thing. Because I'm addicted. I'll watch plane videos on YouTube for an hour and a half.
I mean, I think phone versus world is a debate that is tough to win, but phone versus vagina wins every time. So you know 100%. How to get us. You know how to get the phone out of our hands.
No doubt.
I think it really depends on how tough your week was.
Wow.
and how much you want that vagina.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about, or should we talk about Michelle Wolf and Kanye?
Brian Moote cares about people, sports, and family. Brad Nolan doesn't like to be bothered too much. The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
We meant to do headlines a couple of times today. We didn't do it. Why? Because Brad's lazy, didn't find any.
Fake news.
Brian normally finds them when I'm being lazy, but Brian had a tough day too. And honestly, this is a podcast at the end of a tough day.
You know what? I did look up headlines, and really the only thing there's a ton of stuff going on. Southwest just had another window blow out of their airplane. That's going to affect
did I miss
prices.
that? Another one?
You know what I feel bad about today? Kind of, but not really. But I'll admit it because it is a negative reaction to have. As soon as I heard Southwest had their second window blowout, no one was hurt on this one.
Okay, good.
Thank God. I just immediately went to the Southwest website to see how much their tickets had dropped because I have to book one to go to Nashville. at the end of the month. And I've been waiting for the price to drop. And I know that's an awful thing to do, but it ain't my window, man. All right, you fix your windows. That's not. I saw it and I was like, I gotta go book a ticket. So stupid, but that's my new favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Just the telegraph reaction. Oh, Southwest had another plane problem. Time to save some money. And Southwest want to get away.
It's a dad joke. The thing about that is, like, do you really want to be on a plane? It's pretty rare for a company to have the same exact issue twice
That's
on
pretty
two
creepy.
separate planes. Like,
Seriously.
do you want to be on that plane?
I'll take an aisle seat. And that was exactly how they do it in Law and Order. It'd be like, someone got sucked out the window. Looks like they should have sat in the aisle.
It's funny for two reasons. One,
So
it's
terrible.
just funny. But two, you're confusing Law and Order and NCIS.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
I don't have all the sound effects, but they do have the quip.
Where's the Who when you need it?
They do have that. Whoop before the can by sitting by that window. And I know. Listen, I'm completely acknowledging that is it's just a hugely insensitive thing to say. No, it is to think, because a woman passed away the first time. That's awful.
Okay, but this is the second time we're talking about.
Yeah, those seatbelts worked the second time. So
That's right.
I listen. It's South. I'm gonna do the right thing, and I'm gonna continue to support a company that's in need.
That's so sweet of you. Really a good person.
So long as those prices keep dropping.
So that was in the news. But mainly the other thing too, and Shereen and I were talking about this earlier. Kanye and his TMZ interview that was wildly confusing.
So weird.
And really stirred people up with the comment. I don't know, Brad, do you have the comment he's had to them about 400 years and slavery being a choice?
Let's double check here. I don't know if I actually have, because this isn't labeled very well, but I have something, but I don't know if it's Van's response or if it's Kanye. So hold on.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
Wrong.
So that was, we talked about that today because people are offended on numerous levels because slavery is a horrific part of this country's fabric of development and the foundation of our economy and infrastructure for 400 years. And I think the thing that's hard to unpack is I got blasted on text message today when we talked about this on radio was people saying, well, you don't understand. Kanye's talking about something deeper. Dig a little deeper about what he means by choosing. It's like a mindset. Our mindset's enslaved. We want to have free thought and our thoughts are enslaved. And I watched the whole TMZ thing, and he said nothing of the sort.
No,
about
he
thoughts.
was trying to be the guy, and you said this to me earlier. He was trying to be the guy like, not me.
Right.
That wouldn't happen to me.
Not me. I know. I know how to get, and I'll save people.
Yeah.
See, the thing to me that was so strange is that it just seemed so just minimizing of what that struggle was. Because Shereen and I were watching it, it just seemed. What was your reaction when you saw it?
Well,
Because she was in Mom World, so I had to inform her about the news today.
Yeah.
I'm always uninformed. Sorry, friends. I feel like he was doing sort of the same thing that Tony Robbins did. Did you guys see this thing?
Oh, when he talked about the Me Too movement.
Yeah, like he was at one of his seminars and some woman stood up and she talked about sexual assault, #MeToo, and he basically said to her that, because in his seminars he talks about all the human needs and one of them is that everyone has a need for significance, and he was basically saying to her, a lot of people are trying to find significance through basically being the victim and blaming somebody else. So I feel like in a vacuum, these progressive thoughts of mindset, like Kanye's trying to say, like, choose your thoughts wisely, or
don't dwell in the past. Don't let slavery affect you now.
Yeah, like I feel like in a vacuum, the idea that you can choose your thoughts is great, and the idea that you don't want to have a victim mentality is probably true, and the idea that you want to be empowered is also great. And when you take that thought in a vacuum and apply it to a situation where a person has actually been victimized or assaulted or enslaved, it's like highly insensitive and super inappropriate.
Right. I think the two things are a little bit different when it comes to sexual assault and slavery.
Okay, go
Well,
ahead.
there was a lot of sexual assault in slavery.
No, I just mean in the current climate.
Sure,
because
of course.
currently, while slavery is a thing in the world in some places, in the United States, slavery is not a thing.
As much.
Currently.
There still is a lot of it. Human trafficking. and
Yeah.
sex slavery and
Sure.
stuff
Okay,
like
fine.
that.
But I'm talking about the general...
Like lawfully, people are not enslaved lawfully.
Exactly.
Right.
But there is definitely... The sexual assault thing is a little bit harder to consume for me because it's like, no, that's happening on the daily, and it's a serious issue. Although I think Van did... I mean, I wish I had that audio. The Van response to him was...
Well, okay.
That was really good. I feel
Well, he
like
was
had a
saying
good
that
response.
you don't have. It's not like Kanye didn't say mindset. He said he used the 400 years and almost made it sound like, well, if people would have just not been slaves and chosen to not be a slave, then we wouldn't have been slaves for 400 years. That minimizes the entire thing, and that's a different issue altogether. I think where the two merge is the mindset thing, where hey, if you don't acknowledge it, it's not going to affect you.
Yeah.
Speak things into power, and I
Right.
think at a certain point, I believe in all that positive thought stuff. I believe in not dwelling on things that have affected you, but I also believe you can still acknowledge the things that the barriers and the things that have victimized you, and acknowledge that that has an effect on you and overcome it. See, I diverge with Tony Robbins, where he is looking at this thing like everyone who's been part of this movement is finding value out of being a victim, and that's going to be in their way at the end. And also, these rich guys, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
You live in these multi-million... Tony Robbins owns an island in Bali. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that guy doesn't know what the barriers the average person is overcoming. He doesn't have any barriers right now. So,
Yeah.
you know what? I just want to go cut his leg off and be like, hey,
How about that,
speak
Tony?
your way into walking again. Don't dwell on the past. Hey, man, your leg's a thing of the past. Don't dwell on me cutting it off either. And you better not call the cops, because that is retroactive thinking, and that's not going to get you anywhere
That's
in this
right.
life.
And
you're-
you can't be playing the victim.
That's right.
It just was fascinating because it just seems like all these thoughts that Kanye's having, these conversations he's having, I know he wants them to be bigger than how they're coming across. I know he thinks they're bigger, and they probably honestly are. He just doesn't know how to effectively communicate them in a way that doesn't make him sound crazy, and in a way that doesn't sound tone deaf to the fact that he wields the power of 28 million people on Twitter, millions and millions more worldwide, just by his influence. And also, at this point, buddy, you're coming off crazy. So every time you say something that may have a profound meaning greater than physically meaning or literally meaning slavery, when you say it, it sounds nuts.
Yeah. That's so true, man. That's such a good point. I will say this, though. Like, I hate that I'm about to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have this Haitian friend, Sharon Pierre-Louis. She's an actress. She was actually in Django Unchained. She tells me that in the Haitian history that basically people tried to come to their country and enslave them, and that they are the only black people who ever revolted and basically weren't enslaved. So, like, that's just really fascinating to me. I don't think Kanye's right, but, like, I think it's – I don't know what I'm saying with saying that.
Well, it is one thing to – I think the difference is that in those islands, that happened later than African slavery. Like, African slavery was the first, and a lot of them were sold into slavery by other Africans, and it had been happening for so long, it had become a business, and people were being kidnapped, and they didn't know any better. And I think the idea that people were choosing to be slaves at any point in time, I mean, it's easy for us who are free people to look back and be like, if you drop me in slavery, I'd make a difference. Yeah, because you know different.
Yeah.
Because you experience different. For a lot of those people, generations after generations were mentally tortured, physically tortured, told repeatedly that they were worthless, that they were worth less, that this was all they could ever be, that they'd be lucky if they could, make it from the field to the house. When you're talking about that level of mental torture, it's not, you can't take the two and compare them in a vacuum, because it's not like people that were enslaved were letting the slavery get them down. You could have just, why didn't you go to a Tony Robbins convention and figure out how to get out of here with positive thinking? You can do it.
Well, and also, Brad, do you have any thoughts? I feel like we just keep going. Just wanted to check in with you, friend.
Oh, no. I think I've had these. I'm Kanye'd out.
Yeah, we've been talking about Kanye a
Over
lot.
it.
You know what I mean? For me, because here's the thing. I think Kanye should be seen for what he is.
Which is
a person who makes music. End of story. Stop tweeting.
Yeah, we are
Stop
idolizing
speaking.
him.
Stop. I have zero respect for people who do one thing who like to bounce around in another thing. Look, I have zero respect for some, I don't like it when, maybe let's say a reality TV star is like, I'm going to become president. I don't really think that that's something that should be happening. And I'm glad it doesn't. You know what I mean? That reality TV stars don't become presidents. I just don't think it's cool when someone who just make your music, man, and just make me happy with your music, and just shut your mouth. That's kind of how I feel about it.
well,
It's like Michael.
Because then he treads into water he can't handle, and he's got all that influence that he got in it for a different thing, and now he's going to turn. It's kind of how much influence.
It's a slippery slope because you've got some people that are very, very good at taking their platform in something like basketball. Take LeBron James and using it to, start nonprofits, start foundations, speak and fight for disenfranchised populations and things. And Kanye's done a lot of that in his career in terms of Chicago and youth violence and things like that. But now it's turned into, I feel like he is the one who champions himself harder than anybody else.
Yeah,
and
once you cross the ego that I hate.
Once you cross that threshold where you're your biggest fan, really, and you're the one saying, I'm a genius, I'm a genius, I'm a genius, everything I say is genius, then you're going to spin off into an area where, you're damn near a cult leader.
Yeah.
I've never heard an actual genius say that.
Yeah.
Right. Einstein wasn't was he a real dick about it?
No, he was. No, he was just.
He's like, I'm super smart.
All he did was solve problems and bang chicks.
What?
According to the history of it.
With that look?
I know, but he's very smart.
That hair, though. Come on now.
Yeah. you plus me equals us.
He looks
like
a peanut farmer. How does he get in any action?
No. Come on. Nerds are hot. They're super hot.
No, they are now. They didn't used to be.
That's a good point. Yeah, they didn't used to be. Well, maybe we don't know what it was like in Einstein's time. Come on.
Well, nowadays, the nerds that we think of as nerds are just the ones that are playing role-playing games and stuff. And I don't know don't know about any time I've seen a cosplay convention and been like, look at those smoking hot dudes over there dressed up like fat superheroes.
Right, but when you do go to you do see the opposite gender killing it at the cosplay thing.
Smoke shows.
Yeah. You can have all the Harley Quinns in this world you want. That's what I want to talk about. Forget Kanye West. I want to talk about Harley Quinn impersonators.
That sounds fun to me, but can we talk about something really quick that sort of relates to the Kanye thing?
It's going to be the last thing in the show.
Jump in,
Go ahead.
yeah. Okay.
No pressure.
Okay, so have you ever heard of the Milton experiment?
Nope.
Nope, sorry, the Milgram experiment?
No.
Okay, so after the Holocaust happened, everyone was like, what the hell? How did that happen? So this guy...
how are you able to get all these people to follow along and do these atrocities?
Exactly. So then this dude named Stanley Milgram basically did an experiment. I think he was at Harvard. I'm not sure. One of the really smart
people school.
Yeah, basically. Exactly. In that voice. That's how it sounded in my head.
Where'd you go to Smarty Pants A&M? Yes, I did.
Basically.
Thank you.
So he did an experiment where he was really trying to figure out how that happened. And he was in a lab coat. He had an actor in a chair linked to electricity. And then he had the actual test subjects who were the volunteers who thought they were going in to do an experiment to figure out if electric voltage really affected mental, agility.
Capacities.
Yeah, exactly. So they would go in and they would ask the question to the actor, and then the actor would get the answer wrong. And then Stanley Milgram in the lab coat would say, okay, go ahead and administer this amount of electric shock. And it would just be the beginner level. And they'd do it. And the actor would be like, bzz, Bah! And then they'd keep doing it until they got to the point where it was this will kill you. This is fatal voltage. This is literally going to kill this person. And Stanley Milgram would go, don't worry, I got this. I'm the one responsible for how this all shakes out. Go ahead and administer that highest level of voltage. And what they found was that 9 out of 10 people would do it. That there was only 1 out of 10 who would actually...
I would say, I don't care if it's your fault. I'm not going to
Right.
do
There was
this.
only 1 out of 10 people who would not defer to authority, who would actually be the rebel. Okay? You see where I'm going here?
Awaken
and
that rebel.
Yes, and think for
Don't shock
themselves.
the actor.
And so I feel you make a good point with the 400 years of slavery. It's there might not have been enough of this type of person who sort of thinks for themselves to like rise up against authority, not only because they were being totally mutilated for doing so, but also because it's actually like people aren't wired really that way.
Right. I mean, I think that we all like to think of ourselves as bigger, stronger, more independent personalities than in reality we are. But we can kind of romanticize it. And the easiest way to do that is to do it in history, or to say like, oh, yeah, right. You put me in World War II? Dude, I'll go rogue like Brad Pitt did in Legends of the Fall. Come back with a bunch of ears on a necklace, man. Like, no, I won't.
Civil War, I would have defected to the North. You probably wouldn't have.
I went and did paintballs one time, and I just hid in a fort for like an hour. It hurt. I didn't want to get shot.
It hurt.
It was. Let me hold on. Hold on. It's not over till it's over.
Do you want me to handle it?
No, I was gonna.
Sure.
The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology truths.
Truth. Teenagers can communicate entirely in emojis.
How was the birthday party? Pizza slice, kitten, soccer ball, pineapple?
Truth. It's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at geico.com.
What are you talking about? Paperclip, shoulder shrug, high five, wizard hat? What?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.